Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode on Laid Back the Atorozinga podcast. Our topic for this week is political climate in Nigeria. And our guest for this week is Ajuluchukwu Edechiene, who is a development communication expert, a political enthusiast, and a card-carrying member of the People's Democratic Party in Nigeria. Hello Ajuluchukwu, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Good day, everyone.
Yeah, welcome. So, you said this is your first podcast. How do you feel?
Well, yes, this is my first, but we've been on radio, and then I think it's just the same methodology, although different technology. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So, but I know we're debating a little bit, but what do you think is the difference between radio and podcast actually?
Data.
There's no right or wrong. I'm just here.
Data. Okay. No, I'm saying, is it why people are not using it more, or
No.
the difference? The difference is okay. The difference is technology.
Yeah.
A radio. You have to get a license and all that, and then the podcast is for internet. So you just need data. So why more people are not? You know how data cost is in Nigeria, and also so radio is more popular than and podcast is just coming up. It's not everyone that is aware. But even if you're aware, do you have that much data to go on the internet and listen to podcast?
Fair. Because when you think about it, radio is also expensive to get a license. I know it used to be between 20 to 100 million naira back then. So I'm just curious what you think is the difference. But anyway, let's get right into it. First and foremost, let me congratulate you and your party on winning the governorship seat in Enugu State.
Yeah, thank you. It was a run, so
why did you give that reaction?
The matter is still in court.
Yeah.
So we are hopefully the court cases are done, so we can get right into government. But for now, you might say that everywhere is still a little bit shaky. You don't know whether what the court is going to go for. So we're just waiting. Let's see. After the court is done, we can now get back to it.
But do you apart from the court, let's leave the court aside now. But do you have any faith that the person that won is going to do a good job?
Well, I personally didn't vote for him. But looking at his record, what he has been able to achieve in the private sector. So yes, I think he's going to do something. But also I'm going through his manifesto. I'm a little bit doubtful because of the. I think he's a little bit overambitious, right? Which is not a bad thing to be overambitious, but when you look at the realities and then you try to compare and contrast, and you like, no, those guys, they are just talking. I think it's just politics.
Yeah. Okay, fair. There's nothing wrong with your ambition, but it depends on what he tends to do. Anyway, let's watch and see. Anyway, but the last election was a huge surprise in Nigeria. There was the emergence of the third wave party, the Labour Party. Nobody saw that coming. Did you expect that? And if yes, why?
No, when it started, I didn't expect it, because we know when the opposition took power in 2015, the movement started in 2012.
Yeah.
Do you understand? The political infighting started 2011 after the election, but by 2012 the movement already started. The opposition was building up. The opposition was building up. It was so much, So push it to 2022. Yes, there is an opposition that was building up from 2020. The NSAS movement, right? Which majority of us were part of. And then we went on to now when P2B now declared to run for election, because he has been there, because he's one voice we all know. So we're thinking that, I was thinking that my party, the PDP, will give him the ticket.
Yeah.
So, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And because of that, I would call it opposition. Yeah, the NSAS movement was an opposition, right? So that movement now gave birth to the obedient movement, and then they created the third force. And nobody saw that coming. But yes, the signs were there, but it wasn't like, okay, would this happen or would this not happen? But it now happened, and the movement found a good candidate, so, and it changed everything. It changed the political landscape in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Most especially the Southeast.
Yeah. But have you ever thought about it? Like, why do you think the PDP, they weren't a good opposition? Why?
No. We are an opposition, right? But we played a different type of opposition.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if you play the dirty game APC play, because when when they were the opposition, everybody could tell they were actually trying as much as possible to change the power. You see what I mean? They did everything within their power to make people believe that PDP is the devil. So. But I felt like during their own tenure over the last 8 years, like PDP, they were a bit relaxed and laid back in their own approach. And there was no, what would I say? There was no pressure from the Senate or House of Representatives or whatever on the president to like change or maybe to even impeach him, or because so many things were just going amiss, but they didn't do anything. So why do you think the PDP they took that laid-back approach?
Okay, because of how PDP was set up, right? Yeah. We were in power for so long, so we became, so very gentleman in our approach, right? Don't forget, for over 20 years, close to 20 years, that we had so many states down. We've changed. There are so many reforms within the PDP. PDP is no longer the party it used to be, right? When we started, I joined PDP in 2005. It was formed in 1999, in 1998. Prior to 1999 election. So we've changed, and so by the time we got to becoming an opposition, we thought the people are aware. We keep saying that the people are the opposition, right? But people want leadership. People want, if something happens, for people to come out and protest. There are people who is going to lead this protest. These things are funded. Protests are not. Protest doesn't just happen. People come out and fund protests and sustain it. Because people can just come out the first day and they are gone. But for it to continue and then build momentum, there needs to be yes. So we didn't do that. Yes. So by the time the young people took over the opposition, we did not have that what would I call it? We didn't have that credibility to attract them and own the movement. Right?
Is it the NSAS movement you're talking about?
Yeah, both the NSAS movement, both when they were now calling for for the PDP to give Obi the ticket, right? There was no way we could turn it around and own it and then direct how this whole thing will go. So we people already seen PDP as the bad apple, like that. We had the problem. It says 16 years of PDP misrule in Nigeria. So everybody's now saying PDP is the bad guy. But when PDP is just a vehicle, because I always say that politicians will always congregate. They go to where they win. It's a selfish game. So because of how our political parties are built in Nigeria, we don't have that core ideology. It's just like now, after being in PDP, I'll move to Labour Party, right? Which Labour Party is a product of the Labour Union, and which we have different ideologies towards government and governance. So because of that lack of depth ideology, you see people cross-carpeting from one party to another, right? So there is no that people don't hold back. Like, okay, this is what we believe in. This is what our party believe in, and then this is how we're going to see it through. So yes, the politics that now happened that gave birth to Labour Party. Labour Party has been there. It is not today. They have been there, but because they don't have that push, that organic push, right?
Yeah.
They are even supposed to have more reach than us, but they don't, because there is no local government in Nigeria where you don't have a labor movement, right?
Yeah.
So,
are you sure about that? Because
yes.
the
NUC, the TUC, the labor union, they are in every local government. They are in every. I could say they are in every ward. But the Labour Party, so because of that, their movement, I'm thinking that they would have, built what's it called, a political structure out of it, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So where you expect Labour to have a stronghold, they don't, because they already have a movement. They already have from the national down to the state, down to the local government. They already have structure. That structure we keep talking about. They already have structure, but did they translate that their structure from their labor movement to a political party? They did not, until the obedient movement happened.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but let's deviate. I think we're deviating a little bit from the point now, but let's just go back a little bit. Okay. So last year, since you said that they have structure, but I feel like Mr. Peter be joining them actually changed the game for them. So, but last year was the first time we saw like the three main tribes in Nigeria, Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo, produce a formidable presidential candidate. Do you think that affected the way people actually voted?
No. Well, maybe, but politics in Nigeria has always been religion and tribal, tribe and ethnic affiliation, right? People vote along these lines. There is we can't sugarcoat it. But last year the conversation is that the Southeast should have a chance of being the president. That was what the conversation is. Even within our party, we are like, the PDP should zone this to Southeast. The APC should zone this to Southeast. So that because of the cry for marginalization that is happening within the Southeast, maybe we can use this to quench the fire that is burning down there. But maybe we can find a political solution to this. But that didn't happen, right? PDP did not. PDP have enjoyed the most support from the Southeast since 1999, right? We've been persecuted for so much in this country because of our support to PDP. So when PDP failed to give the tickets to the Southeast, APC also followed suit, right?
Yeah.
APC even did better because APC zoned to the southwest. But PDP opened up for everybody. But APC zoned to the southern part of the country. So
but do you think PDP opening up was just a ploy to make sure like Atiku gets the ticket anyway?
Of course, no. PDP, the people who should have agitated for it became selfish. Someone like Wike wanted the ticket. Atiku also wanted the ticket. But if they have sat down and reasoned and said, okay, why don't we zone this to this zone that have clamored for this for so long, right?
Yeah.
And that would have changed this election, but they didn't do that. So now the third party, it now became a South versus North movement. The southern part versus the northern movement, APC and PDP. So who is going to come out? So now the third force now coming out, which now introduced the core infight now between the three major tribes. That's now the Hausa, the Yoruba, and then the Igbo man. But the Igbo man in the race is telling you, don't vote for me because I'm Igbo. Vote for me because I have the capacity and the credibility to be your president, right? So So if people now competency now came into the play. Now before now, if we are left with just pick along your religious and ethnic bias, fine. But now we're now saying now we now have credibility on the table. So if you're going to look across all these things, right? Which person do you vote for? So if you're not voting for this man that he's your village man, and not voting for this man that he's your church person, can we vote for somebody who is most competent to lead this country? I think that was the most important question in the last election.
Yeah, but I understand. Competence is really important, but just like you mentioned, Nigerians vote along that religious and ethnic lines, and sometimes I feel like it affects the bias actually affects our judgment, because you can see who is competent, and we feel like, oh, but our brother is coming out, so why should I leave this person? Why should I vote for my own brother? But anyway, Obi right now is in court, and he believes he won the last election, and he's still in court. So do you think he has any chance to usurp the incumbent and reclaim his mandate at all?
And well, we saw what happened during the election. We saw how INEC went against their own guidelines, right? INEC said there will be instant transmission of a result. That means instantly transmitting the result from the polling unit to the IREF and also to their collection center in Abuja.
Yeah.
But on the day of the election, which happened that we had the presidential, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. The House of Senate, the Senate and the House of Reps went through. It was instant. You upload and it goes through to the IRF, so you can see it. Every other person can see the result. But the presidential, they said they had a glitch. They didn't call it they said they had a glitch. Till today, we don't know what caused this glitch, right? Till today, INEC haven't come out to say this is what caused the glitch. Now, you saw the report. Even the European Union put out a report. The European Union that came to observe they put out a report. The widespread election violence, the intimidation, the rigging, and then even when you go to the IREF, you see a mutilated results used with toothpaste to clean up things and all that. So it's till date, nobody have gone to jail. The INEC chairman is still there after wasting billions of naira to run the election. On even investing in infrastructure and saying this is the best that we're going to have a free, credible election. But that didn't happen. So now it is no arrests have been made. No arrests have been. Nobody is good. Nobody have been brought to justice. Or in all this. So now it's left for a 5-man panel to decide if this election is if what the INEC said, who the INEC said won the election is the person that actually did. And then the evidence are there, but they disregarded all those things, right? And they said that they didn't air INEC at any point. They did not say this is what happened. INEC, you did not follow your guidelines for this. We think someone should answer for it. Nobody is answering for it. All they did was to go against the people who brought the case, and then the case is now going to Supreme Court. They dismissed so many. They dismissed so many of them. They even struck out some. They even struck out like when they struck out your case. That means like they don't want this to appear in their legal documentation that that you brought this case forward, right? So now the case is going to the Supreme Court. Am I expecting a miracle to happen at the Supreme Court? No. This is not a case of a miracle happen. This is a case of the facts are there, right? The facts are there. Even to date, when you go to the IREF, the results there doesn't say the same with what INEC published.
Yeah.
So there's still discrepancies. If you go there, it's still there, and nobody is being questioned for it.
So now that the panel, they've come up with their own judgment, the panel or the committee, what next for Mr. Obi now?
They say they are going to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. So, but do you have any faith in the judiciary to carry out the
No, I don't. Nobody should. If at this point we've not, it's been how many months after the election? We've not said this man needs to go to jail for election violence. People said so many things. They stood by what they said. Up till now, nobody is answering questions. The discrepancy are there. Nobody is doing anything. So, and this is a Supreme Court. This is a Supreme Court that somebody came forth in an election, and the person is now the governor of a state. This is a Supreme Court. Somebody who didn't run for a primary.
That's in Imo State, isn't it?
Yes, this is in Imo State. The former Senate president did not contest a primary. As of the time the primary of the Senate was being contested in his senatorial zone, he was running for the president. When he lost the president, he came back, and the party had to do another election for him, disregarding the first election that they did. And then the Supreme Court affirmed it, and then the man is now a senator. So when you look at what has happened over the past 8 years, I do not have a single faith in the judiciary.
Oh, that's sad. I don't know what else to say. But anyway, now that in recent years, there's been this call, or would I say a campaign, not too young to rule. Actually trying to get young people to get into politics. But I remember in 1999, the 1999 set of governors and the rest of them, they were so young, they're in their early 30s. So why do you think all of a sudden now they're not talking about not too young to rule again?
Well, that's the reality here in Nigeria. That since the guys that took over power since 1970, they are still here, right?
Yeah.
Calling the shots, right? Not just the guys that came in 1999. So, what part of the reason why I didn't vote for the governor of Enugu State is that these are part of the guys who came in 2000. He was chief of staff in 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
And and then he's back again. It's the same cabal, it's the same political family and all that. So now it's sad that in this part of the world, you see a 50-year-old man being the youth leader of a political party. They will tell you that youth is at heart. Oga, you're 50 and you are still contesting for a youth leader. So there's a clock. People don't want to accept that they are old and step aside for other people to step in, right?
Yeah.
That's why we've been rotating politicians. We've been rotating them for the past 40, 30 years. We've been rotating the same set of people. They don't want to move out so that young people can come in. So that was what gave birth to the Not Too Young to Run campaign in 2018. I joined that campaign. I ran for the House of Assembly in 2018. So the movement came out of the frustration of young people, right? Yeah. So, but right now, we even need to define who is a young person in Nigeria. I think the Nigeria Charter now, puts it, I think 15 to 29. Those are people who come, by the time you're 30, you're no longer a young person. You're not an adult male, right? Yeah. And then majority of the people now that were governor in 1999, they were in their late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
And they gave them that opportunity to lead. So now when you see someone in his early 30s running for offices, they will tell you, what does he know? He should go and contest for even if it is local government chairman or House of Assembly before he can stand to run for governor. But we've had people who ran for governor in their 30s.
Yeah.
Right? So those the same people are still coming back today to run for Senate, to run for, so it's it's the murky water that we are in Nigeria. People are not stepping out, right?
Yeah.
We are just rotating in the same place. So the obedient movement wanted to introduce a new, which I also was part of the obedient movement, even though I'm a PDP Qatar member, because the obedient movement is talking about the new Nigeria. We want people of character, people of competence, to take over leadership. There is this conversation ongoing about the president's certificate. People don't even know that you do not need a certificate to become president of Nigeria.
So
you don't need a certificate.
You just need.
You need to have equivalent.
You just need.
They said a secondary school cert or its equivalent.
Exactly.
Sorry.
That's all you need. SSCE, to be honest.
Yes. Or its equivalent.
Yeah.
Then there is another section of their constitution that gives the INEC the power to even decide if you are qualified to run.
Yeah.
So you don't need a certificate. So that's how low a leadership is placed in Nigeria, right? I'm not saying that you must go to a high institution before you can learn something, but there are some basic things you need to acquire, for you to be able to lead people.
Yeah, I agree, but don't you think those laws, anyway, in Nigeria, I know there are a lot of biases there. Don't you think those things were actually made to make sure that their own people get into it anyway? Because they were...
Of course, that's the whole essence of the federal character.
Yeah.
That's the whole essence of the federal character. They will bring down the bar so low, so that other people can get in. People who don't deserve to get in will get in, right?
Yeah.
So that's what created the quota system that we have in Nigeria. Let these people go. That's why the president ran with the mantra, "Emilokan, it is my turn," because it is turn by turn in Nigeria. So if it is around here, I will now say "Eyen derbe." So you give these people, you should also to rotate it around. So that's why we have rotational politics.
Yeah.
Not based on competence, they will even tell you, there should be, okay, now the conversation has changed. It's going to be rotational, but can we now look for competent people?
Yeah.
When we are rotating it.
Yeah. Fair. But anyway, because of time, if you had the chance now, let me ask you this final question. If you had the chance to be the governor of Enugu State for a month, what would you solely focus on and why?
Okay, like I used to say, aside from planting trees, just take out 1 month to plant, to do like 1 million trees plantation. Aside that, I would look at our policy, how we formulate and implement policies around, right? Yeah. And most importantly, I want it to be community driven, right? Yeah. I want it to be community driven. And there is this thing Sullivan started back when he was governor. It's called VEC, Visit Every Community. Yeah. So what they do is that before every budget year, the government send people to every community, visit every community, and they ask the community to prioritize what they want. They will say from 1 to 5, what do you guys want? And community will now say, okay, we want this. And then when they collect from every community, they will now prioritize which one do we do first. Okay, this community listed 3 things, and they said their topmost need is water. So how do we get water for them? How do we get light? So with this all right, so getting community included in formulating policies about their own well-being and welfare, I think is what I would prioritize. Just like back then, if after going through the whole community, that the VEC, the visit every community, the government will come back and then look at all these things and prioritize and then from there, now see how do we tackle these problems, how do we solve these issues. So it's not just about policies that will impact on our people, but also policies that will make it possible for to attract investment. And I would say Enugu is a transit state. So how do I make more people to come to Enugu? I think that's the major thing. How do I double the number of people that are coming to Enugu? And how long do I want them to stay? We already have institutions that are bringing people to Enugu. They come, they stay 4 years, they stay 5 years, and they go. So how often do I want people to come in, and how do I double it? I think these policies can be looked into within 1 month and change some areas and see where we can focus our strength on, and then be able to, deliver on the promises we make to our people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. That sounds like you have a good plan, actually. It sounds like you have a good plan.
Well, politics is not about good plan here. It's about getting the necessary support and then getting the people behind you.
It's not about the plan, it's about the execution.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much, Ajuluchukwu, for coming on to the show, because that's all the time we have for this week.
Thank you for having me. I
hope you had fun on your first podcast.
I did. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Do this again. All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.